S4, I don't want to go blind from it, and that's what the people online say it's going to cause you to go blind. It's a SARM, it builds muscle, but it activates some receptors in the eyes that can cause temporary vision impairment. And I've taken this before. I've taken it at 75 milligrams, which is 3 25 milligram capsules, and my vision started getting like a color tint to it, and it was weak. Like my eyes were getting tired very easy, and I work a lot on my phone and on a computer, so it was harder to read fast. And it's really important for me to read fast. So that's the reason I don't use S24. But for the people who don't need to have perfect vision or who want to run it really short cycles and low dosage and respond really well to it, it's actually really amazing. In fact, when I first started teaching about SARMs in the first 2 years, about 7 years ago, I'd say that S4 was the number one SARM that people were actually winning physique competitions on. It was one of the earlier SARMs. And back then they were running 50 to 100 milligrams. The guys that were running 100 milligrams noticed the vision side effects came very quickly. The guys that are running 50 milligrams or as low as 25 milligrams noticed it took a lot longer for them to get the vision side effects. So clearly, the higher the dosage, the more vision side effects. But the higher the dosage, the more muscle it builds and the more shredded you look. And I think one of the reasons why this was used so much for competitions back then is it gives a really dry, hard look. So the competitors that were on it looked like they were on Winstrol, and they didn't seem to have any other side effects besides the vision side effects. So the vision side effect is a bad side effect, but the fact that they didn't experience other side effects of steroids, I mean, as long as the dosage was kept reasonable and the cycles were kept for a reasonable period of time, then they didn't absolutely need vision, because a lot of jobs don't really require tons of reading very quickly, like me as being a lawyer required. I couldn't sacrifice any of my vision performance. So 50 milligrams for 1 month, let's say, people would have like very minimal vision impairment usually and really good effects from it. But this is another reason why cycling SARMs makes so much sense to me, is that this side effect aggregates over time. And if we just switch between different SARMs more often, then the side effect doesn't aggregate, doesn't accumulate. For example, 50 milligrams at 3 weeks may not provide much vision impairment for most people. Then why not run 50 milligrams for 3 weeks and then switch to another SARM for 3 weeks and then come back to S4 for 3 weeks or something like that? So I wouldn't throw it out completely. It's not completely useless. And again, people got such great results from it with so little other side effects. It's definitely got its applications. Do I use S4 now for my clients? Sometimes, usually at a low dosage and usually stacked with other SARMs. So I might put someone on 25 milligrams of S4 every day for 1 month, in addition to another SARM that's more of a foundation. Because S4 has also got a short half-life. So if we're going to take 75 milligrams, we are much better taking 25 milligrams 3 times a day than taking all 75 milligrams at once. So spreading out the dosage with S4 is pretty important. But if we're only taking 1 25 milligram serving, then okay, then we take it pre-workout, of course, right? And then we take something else that's got a longer half-life, like an LGD 4033 or a RAD 140 as sort of the SARM's foundation with it. So it's still in some of my protocols sometimes, but just because the vision thing, I use it less than I do some of the other side SARMs. Here's an idea of what makes sense on how we could use S4. Let's say we want to use Winstrol because we want to get dry and hard and shredded, and we want that cosmetic effect, but we're nervous about Winstrol causing hair loss, ruining our cholesterol, and being liver toxic. And S4 doesn't ruin our cholesterol as bad. It's not liver toxic as far as I've ever seen, and it doesn't cause hair loss, at least very much, right? So like it doesn't really have the same side effects as Winstrol. And the side effects of Winstrol increase with the dosage. And the side effects of S4, which is the vision side effect, also increases with dosage. So it just makes sense to me. Take a half dosage of Winstrol and take a half dosage of S4. And that way we're going to get minimal vision side effects. And that way we get half the side effects of Winstrol, but we get a similar cosmetic effect as if we took a full dosage of Winstrol. I think that's like the smartest way to use it. You probably don't see a lot of protocols that have that type of approach, but that's how I kind of use chemistry to get the maximum benefit with the least amount of side effects, is using tricks like this.